and I'm going to kick us off. So this is our Dear Editor series of classes. They're hopefully short and sweet, just usually about 30 minutes long. But today, what we're going to talk about are services and resources available from the Research Medical Library. I am Larissa Gann, and I'm a medical librarian. And my colleague with me today is Erica Goodoff, and she's one of our scientific editors. And we're going to talk about all of the tools, all the services that are available to you today. Please feel free to stop us, ask questions, chat, unmute. We're here to help. So to start, we wanted to just ask you, it's not really a poll, we just want you to put some answers in the chat, but what tools do you use to search for medical or scientific information? When you're just searching for information in general, what do you use? Don't worry, I won't name check anyone. Just you can feel free to chat on any tool that you use regularly to look up, maybe for yourself as a consumer or in your research and writing. Google Scholar. Google Scholar is like a huge database, right, of literature. Google, okay. Any non-Google tools? It's okay if there's not, because I'm going to show you I'm going to mention some other tools that are available. Okay. Definitely a lot of tools available. PubMed, that's probably our most used tool at MD Anderson is PubMed in terms of the library. Okay. Well, what I want to make sure that you know today, that you take away, is that the library is here for you, and we have resources and services that are available online. Our website's available anytime, anywhere, of course. You can go to mdanderson.org/library. You can log in to our website 24/7. You just use the MD Anderson credentials that you already use to get to your desktop computer or to other resources at MD Anderson. Everything I'm going to talk about today is free for you to use. We don't charge for our services or our resources. We're here to make sure that your research and your writing is supported fully. So you might want to bookmark the library's website. Again, it's just mdanderson.org/library. You can also go to Inside and just type in library as well. Either way works. And the site and the resources are available 24/7. When you go to the library's website, we have a search the library bar on the homepage, which is the screenshot here. When you search that search bar, you should be able to find most of the databases, articles, ebooks, book chapters that we subscribe to for you to access. You should be able to just link to the full article for free. You can also search for some of the databases and tools that you might be looking for. We do have a menu at the top under Find Information that has a lot of the resources that are most used up here, but you can start just by searching this search bar as well. When you search, if you're looking for an article, a book, a resource, what you're looking for is something that says available online, and that should link you to it. Sometimes it'll just say PDF. You can sort your search results by format. So if you're looking specifically for articles or book chapters or something, just like on Amazon, you could go to the format section and you can change which format you're looking for. Just say, hey, I'm only looking for journal articles, or I'm specifically looking for a book chapter. You can also cite any of these resources from our homepage. When you search, there's a little quotation mark option. When you click on that, you can copy the citation. So if you need to copy the citation for a presentation or to save it, you can copy it in APA, AMA, or NIH format. That's what the little quotation marks are for. All this to say, we want you to be able to search from the homepage and get to what you need really quickly and for free. We also have a browser extension that you can add to Chrome, Firefox, or Edge, and it's called libkeynomad. You can add libkeynomad to your browser. The purpose of this is that it will then add these nice little download PDF buttons when you're searching on different journal websites, so that as you're reading through and looking for stuff, like maybe you're in Google Scholar and you click on something, you can download the PDF really quickly. So it's just a little green fire icon and it should say download PDF. If you happen to be on a different computer or device, you can still have the libkey Nomad extension installed. It'll ask you to log in with your MD Anderson credentials and you can still get that full text PDF. So we're trying to make it as easy as possible for you to just click and get the PDF. If you can't find what you're looking for, you search, you can't find the PDF, it happens. And we don't subscribe to absolutely everything, but you can request online for free. We have a service called Interlibrary Loan. You can request any article or book chapter, and usually we can get it back to you within a day or two, sometimes even within an hour or two, but it depends on how difficult it is for us to find. We will not charge you for this. So if you get stuck, you don't need to spend an hour searching for a PDF. You can request through the library's website and we'll try to find it for you. We also don't want you to hit a page and see that you have to pay for the PDF and think, well, I guess I'm not reading that article or I'm not going to include it in my research. There's no limits here. So if you need something, you want to see, read the article, the full text article, you can request from us if you can't get it online. I also wanted to mention one of the services that we have available to you. We do have medical librarians on staff that are specially trained in literature searching. So some of you said you're already searching, you're using PubMed or Google Scholar. But sometimes when you need to write an article, you're going to be writing a grant proposal, you have a big presentation coming up, you want to make sure that you are finding all the relevant literature on a topic. So you can make a request for a literature search from our librarians. They will search the literature for you. They will search across multiple databases based on your topic, and they can deliver the results in an EndNote library. They can also deliver the results in a Word document or Excel if that's more comfortable for you. You can talk to your librarian about what makes sense. This will save you a lot of time, and it'll also ensure that you don't miss any relevant literature. You can also ask the librarians or our editors questions anytime through our website. You can ask us about which journal to publish in. You can ask us about open access policies, about how to get a PMC ID. You have questions about EndNote. Basically, if you have any questions about research, writing, and publishing, you can email us, you can chat us, you can call us. We're here to answer those questions for you. Everything you ask us is completely confidential. So we're not going to go tell anyone what you're asking about. Your research and your questions are confidential, and we respect your privacy. So you can always ask us a question, and we will do our best to answer the question or guide you to the right person to get the information you need. I wanted to mention before I do this, before I move on, because we talked about the best tools to search. A couple other tools that are available to you that you might find useful are UpToDate and Dynamed. And I'm going to show you just on our website real quick. Under popular resources, we have clinical resources that you can search. So if you're doing sort of a preliminary search, trying to find an overview of a topic, you can click on clinical resources. UpToDate is probably our second most used tool at MD Anderson besides PubMed. You can do a quick search to get an overview of a drug or a disease topic. There are other clinical tools in here like Dynamed that does something similar where you can get overviews of drug or disease topics. Clinical Key, we have lots of tools like that. So if you want to just confirm what you're finding is the most up-to-date literature, it's evidence-based, these are some of the tools that are available for you to access, to search. And I'm going to pass it to Erica for our second poll.
All right. So as Larissa mentioned, we're the library, but we're also just kind of here to support you with your writing and your research. So we have services beyond, the classic searching and, collections of books. We don't actually have a physical presence anymore, as we answered someone's question earlier. So what I wanted to ask is, how confident do you feel writing scientific papers. I'm thinking if you're interested in the library, this might be something that you have to do soon or have already tried to do or already doing. So I'm just sort of curious among the people who are present here today, where are you at with this? I see a couple of responses coming in. So far, no one has said I'm an expert, which is completely what I would expect. I don't think even experts are experts.
Right. It's pretty bold to say you're an expert,
Yeah.
probably.
All right. Awesome. Okay, I think everybody's answered. So, where are we at? Um, there's not a particularly shocking response here. Most of us are somewhat not so sure, kind of fair to middling with the confidence in writing. Honestly, I've been writing for years and I'm not always confident with it. So that's exactly what I would have expected. So yeah, maybe there's some places you struggle. That's sort of the most common answer here. And that's exactly, like I said, what I would expect. There are lots of ways that we can help you with that. So in addition to the searching resources and such that we have. We also have editing services in the library. So if you are writing something that's going to like an external audience, most commonly this is a journal article, could be original research, could be a review paper, something like a case report, or you are submitting maybe sometimes a short piece, like just an abstract. You're going to do an abstract or a poster, maybe a short piece like an editorial, stuff like that. Anything that's going again to be published externally, we can help you edit your paper. Same with grant proposals. NIH proposals are the most common, but there's also lots of funding agencies, sort of the institutional funds. We see those sometimes. Private foundations, there's lots of them. So anytime you're trying to write a proposal to get money to do your research and you need to write that proposal and need some help editing the proposal, that's what we're here to do. So our editing services, I mean, we aren't just like sitting there correcting commas and whatever. There's lots of software will do that for you now, but we're actually looking at it, a little bit more than that. So we're trying to help you say it clearly, pick the right words, make sure that you have all the information in there so your reader understands what you're trying to say or what telling the story of your research, that sort of thing. So with journal articles, we typically, can do a full edit like that, what I was just describing. And we try to get it done within 8 working days. For grants, we give it a little less time, typically 5 working days, just because those usually have tighter deadlines by the time you're at the point of trying to get it edited and submit. Um, but as I said, we're looking for, a full check of the English, especially if English isn't your first language. We get that concern a lot, and that's completely understandable. English is my first language, and I struggle with it, so that's totally fair. Um, so yeah, we're here to help you make sure that your writing is as, good as you can get it when you go ahead and submit it for publication or for funding. So I also kind of Liz asked me to point out when we're talking about editing, we make a lot of suggestions. I do want to point out that like you can take them or leave them. Um, we're trying to help you say it clearly, and you'll also notice that when you submit something for editing, you'll get a lot of queries. We'll ask you questions. Do you mean this? Is this what you were trying to say here? Because we're not trying to be English experts. We want you, to make sure that you're saying what you intended to say. So we're not going to take over for you. It's your writing. We will ask to be acknowledged often, but we're not authors on the paper. So it is up to you, whatever, you find, whatever you submit. We just want to make sure that you're saying what you wanted to say. Okay, so that's kind of an overview of what our editing services are. If you go to the next slide, the other thing that we do besides, straight up like looking at your paper, we also do consultations and coaching. So kind of at earlier stages of writing. So if you're sitting there struggling with, oh my gosh, I need to write this paper, I don't even know where to start. We can kind of help you get started with that. If you are going along and you don't really feel like you need this full thing edited, but you have a question. Oh, shoot, how do I format these references? What does this mean? What does this journal author instruction page talking about when they say this? It's like Larissa said, the RML helpline editors and librarians, we ask each other questions all the time. Hey, I've got this question from a patron wanting to know, what to do with should journal names be itelicized? That was one I got recently. So it's top of mind. Stuff like that. We answer questions like that all the time. We work together. So we'll like we were saying before, we'll get you the answer whether I personally know it or my colleague knows it. We'll get you an answer. But with coaching, we want to help you, like I said, get started drafting your paper, making an outline, sort of making a plan, stuff like that. Maybe you have a draft of a paper and you're thinking, boy, something seems like it's missing, or I don't know if this works. We can kind of look at it without sitting there, doing the red line, marking up the page all over the place and go, well, maybe there's some more information needed here. Well, maybe we need to do this table a little bit differently. Like we can help you in that kind of way as well. So it's not just fixing your grammar. Um, so we do have a formal coaching service, and we're going to, after this presentation today, we're going to send you a handout with some links where you can sign up to do the form. If you need something that's a little bit more like multiple meetings with someone, if you want to talk to someone all the way through the process of writing, that's kind of more coaching. I'll provide a link to that. If you just have a question or whatever and need what we call a consultation, RML help, RML editing, either way, we'll get you there. And the handout will have where you can contact to do that. Okay, so I think that's what I have to say about coaching. So also wanted to mention a couple of specific resources that we have available. Some of these are software. So these first couple are software. So Authenticate, if you're not familiar with it, is a program where you can submit a copy of your paper into the software, and it will look for places that look like they might overlap with previously published text. In other words, it's a plagiarism detection tool. And the nice thing about using it here is it's confidential. You can submit your article into the software, it'll look and it'll delete it afterwards. You can either sign up for your own Authenticate account or anything that comes through editing services, we run through Authenticate and again, delete it immediately after. We're not, the goal isn't to like, oh, we caught you doing something wrong. The point is, if we're checking this, we're doing this because the journals are typically doing this. Journals will run papers through Authenticate or Turnitin or those kind of software. I'd much rather you do it yourself before the journal does it, because if there is anything you need to change or reword or something, you have a way to do that before anybody else sees it. And it's always a good idea to submit, even if you're thinking, well, I would never do that. I'm not ever going to write something that was previously published. Well, you have co-authors too. So it's always a good idea to check it. I see somebody's asking how to sign up for that, Larissa. I will let you answer that question. So and similarly, we also have available Image Twin and Proofig, which are image review tools, kind of the same idea, but looking for an image that might have been manipulated or something like that. Again, this is starting to get more common within journals. So this is a way for you to check before you submit it. And BioRender, if you're not familiar with it, you probably are, is software that helps you develop like flowcharts and scientific images or like graphical abstracts, sort of a visual summary of your research. It's a great tool for that, very popular one. So that's just software that we have available. Other stuff I wanted to highlight as far as specific resources, we have a page, and again, this is going to be in the handout that we send you afterwards, where that just has like tools for choosing a journal. That's one of the most common questions that we get in the libraries. How do I pick a journal to publish my paper? There's a couple of websites that you can use to do that. We also talk a lot about how to avoid predatory publishing or publishers. Unfortunately, those are starting to get more common. There's ways that you can sort of look at a journal and think, okay, is this a good journal? Is this a reputable journal? There's a whole way, there's a couple of tools you can use and a couple of just sort of things to think about when you're trying to choose a journal to pick what's going to be best for your paper. We also have available some publication discounts. Especially if you're new to the institution, you may not be familiar with some of these. So I think which publishers do we have agreements with now? It's changed recently, hasn't it, Larissa?
Yeah, so we've been trying to grow this a little bit because we know that there are more and more options for publishing open access. But as you might be familiar, when you publish open access, there's usually a fee. So we've tried to develop some agreements with those publishers to make it easier and lower cost for you to publish with them. So we've developed some agreements with Wiley, not all the journals, but some of them, and with Sage journals and with PLOS. And we have a page on our site with the full list. But you could always email us and ask too, and we can double check the journal titles for you to make sure if you could get the discount or the free publishing that we can make sure that you've got that info.
Yeah, it's a helpful thing to have access to. It's one of the nice things about being here. We have access to that stuff. Um, I wanted to mention specifically for picking a journal. I mentioned predatory journals. Cabell's list, if that's something you've heard of, we do have access to the whitelist. So that's one of the best ways you can check that if you're looking for specific titles. Also, the Journal Citation Report Impact Factor database is kind of the other big one. So yeah, you have access to that through the library. Okay, that's as far as specific resources. The other thing that we have, as you kind of can see in front of you, is we have quite a bit of educational resources as well. So obviously, Dear Editor is an ongoing series that we do periodically where we kind of answer typical or common publishing and writing type questions that we get. Um, we also have a series called Tool Time Tuesday, which is specifically on software tools. That's a very popular resource for writers, for publishers, just anyone at the institution. There's a lot in there. I go to it and learn stuff because there's a lot of software I don't even know how to use. So that's a great resource. But on our education hub on our webpage, you can find all kinds of like videos that we've pre-recorded from classes we've done in the past or workshops we've done in the past. These cover everything from searching PubMed, using EndNote. EndNote's your tool for keeping track of your citations. There's all kinds of tutorials about that. We have sort of some general things about how to write a paper, how to write like an R01 proposal or a grant proposal. So there's actually some longer self-paced courses for those. So there's video, but also kind of some interactive stuff on those. So those are another great resource if you want to take a more in-depth look at it. And then there's also one on database searching. And we also, again, some shorter stuff on like how to do effective figures and tables, how to create a poster. And there's quite a bit of content now going up about how to use AI, another very common question that we get. So you can also, if you have perused these videos, or you would like to you have a specific request, or you want us to do a presentation with a smaller group, you can request that as well. We're always happy to share information and knowledge to help you get your writing written, your writing written and published. So that's also available on our website. Okay, let's see. So yeah, I think that's an overview. The library website is kind of the big place to go, and these are the ways to contact us. So okay, yep, you answered the question. Yeah. So yeah, you can also use a chat feature on our website. You can email. RML-Help is sort of the general one. If you specifically want to request editing, RML editing is good too. Again, we go back and forth all the time. So either will get you there, and you can always call our helpline. So let's see, did we answer everybody's questions? Did you have anything else to add, Larissa?
I was just gonna say, as you go, if you check out the Education Hub with all of the videos that we have there, if you have questions that come up while you're watching or you're reading or reviewing, you can always ask. Um,
Mhm.
we like to nerd out on writing and publishing questions. So if as Erica said, we talk to each other about these things all the time. So if you have questions or concerns, you can always reach out and ask. And we are here to really help you. Any other questions?